Well, former CIA Director John Brennan, he's been back on MSNBC, and here he, with a straight face, tells a nodding Democrat operative that he is completely apolitical.
It's particularly important for people who I think are nonpartisan or apolitical like me. I'm not a registered Democrat or Republican. I eschew politics, quite frankly.
Well, there you go, Josh. He's not a registered Democrat or Republican. Nothing to see here. What's your response to that?
Yes, I mean, speaking of people that I would love to see in handcuffs with a mugshot, right? I mean, looking at him right there, John Brennan. I mean, look, if there is one person who I think should be the lowest of all low-hanging fruit of the entire Russiagate hoax, other than arguably Hillary Clinton herself, I mean, you're looking at John Brennan right there. And we recently saw in these wonderful declassifications that we've seen from Tulsi Gabbard, the DNI Director of National Intelligence, as well as John Ratcliffe, the CIA Director. Among these recent declassifications is a 2020 majority report from then Congressman Devin Nunes on the House Permanent Select Committee for Intelligence. And within these recently declassified documents from this 2020 House report, we see this amazing exchange, this incredible exchange leading up to the infamous January 6, 2017 intelligence community assessment. In other words, this deep state intelligence memo that John Brennan personally orchestrated. That man we just saw there, he tasked 5 of his senior CIA analysts, his most trustworthy guys there, to rush this memo out the door before Donald Trump put his hand in the Bible, took the oath of office. And one person there, a senior veteran, maybe I think multiple veteran CIA officers, said that John Brennan said, "Are you sure you want to do this there? This whole Steele dossier thing there, it doesn't look very reliable there." And John Brennan's response, Rita, John Brennan's response was, "But doesn't it ring true?" And you know, those words right there, doesn't it ring true? If you had to sum up why the American people are in a bipartisan, across the political spectrum, fit a populist fervor, this deep anti-establishment burnout sentiment, I would say, doesn't it ring true from freaking John Brennan really encapsulates all of that.
His complicity in so much of what has happened over the last 6 years is astonishing. Well, longer than that. And let's not forget his part in smearing the New York Post and presenting their bombshell story about Hunter Biden's laptop. He was amongst those who said this was Russian disinformation. He signed that letter, and the influence that would have had right before the 2020 election can't be understated. Now, let's hear from Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, who confirms here that there are still deep state intel agents at the CEI who are doing what they can to undermine the president.
There are people within the intelligence community who believe that their will is more important than the will of the American people. And will weaponize intelligence by leaking it to their friends within the mainstream media with the intent of undermining President Trump's agenda.
Now, Josh, Donald Trump promised a reckoning. He had people associated with him jailed over some very dubious politically motivated charges. Are we going to see a reckoning? Are they going to get away with it?
So, I mean, there's a difference here, Rita, between me saying what I want to happen versus me putting on my legal hat as a lawyer and trying to kind of predict what will actually happen here. First of all, you know, on Tulsi's comments right there about how there are still hostile, subversive, deep state actors, of course. I mean, least surprising comments ever. I mean, there is zero shred of doubt in my mind that these swamp monsters, you know, proliferate, frankly, throughout all the various organs of the intelligence community, the CIA, the FBI, NSA. So I have no doubt about that really whatsoever there. As far as seeking justice, here is what I will say. I do think that there are serious chances of getting John Brennan, James Comey, and or Hillary Clinton on perjury charges. Perjury under federal law has a 5-year statute of limitations, and all 3 of them, based on what I've seen, you could very plausibly argue they perjured themselves before Congress within the past 5 years. I think especially John Brennan. That might be the easiest case for Pam Bondi and her Russiagate strike force that she's calling it. That might be the easiest case for them to go after there. But a lot of these other crimes, let's recall, go back to 2016, 2017. And most of the crimes that I hear people talking about have either a 5 or a 7 year statute of limitations. So that does raise, Rita, the interesting possibility that maybe you want to go kind of pull an Alvin Bragg in reverse and try to, shall I say, creatively begin the tolling of statute of limitations, a la how Alvin Bragg tried to do the very same thing to Donald Trump. Actually, how he successfully did the same thing to Donald Trump in that outrageous Stormy Daniels, Michael Cohen, New York State fraudulent bookkeeping, hush money, the most Stalinist prosecution, frankly, of my entire adult lifetime. So I mean, that's a very interesting conversation. Should the right engage in some similar tactics there? Honestly, my inclination is actually, if it's remotely plausible, probably yes, because I have long been of the opinion that when it comes to this lawfare that the Democrats started with Merrick Garland and Jack Smith, I do think that short-term escalation is necessary to throw some punches back in the service of a mid to long-term truce. I don't know if that's going to happen there, so I'm just kind of tempering expectations. I think that perjury charges for Brennan, Comey, and or Hillary might be the best that we can probably reasonably hope for.
I think you're 100% right there. That lawfare that the Democrats started, if the Republicans don't hit back, it really doesn't provide any sort of an incentive for the Democrats not to do that again when they're in power. This is the only way you're going to be restoring some sanity and standards and not having these agencies completely politicised and weaponised to go after political opponents. Josh Hammer, thank you so much again for your time tonight.